This is the future. Evolution.
The Crossing Realms Conference launches September 19th and 20th and will dock in Richmond, Missouri. This is already being called the event of the year, folks. With an unprecedented list of speakers and special guests, 2 days of cryptids, UFOs, and paranormal presentations, along with a celebrity-filled ghost hunt, meet and greet, gallery reading, vendors, and a film screening. This promises to be both educational and fun. Go to Eventbrite.com to secure your tickets and vendor slots before they are all abducted. They're going fast.
Yes, those tickets are going fast, ladies and gentlemen. September 19th and 20th, the Crossing Realms Conference. Excuse me. Sorry. Check it on out. Thanks to everybody who's already bought tickets. It's going to be, September's here. I'm not going to wish the summer away. I am not going to wish the summer away because I love the summer. 80 degrees is moving in a couple days. So I'm getting ready to plant my garden and all that good stuff. But yes, please do that, as we have a great lineup, as you all know by now. Featured guests and speakers, a 2-day event with a ghost hunt. It's going to be fantastic. If this is your first time here, well, first of all, I've got the lovely Krista from the Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast sitting back in Studio B. Subscribe to the Blondes and Booze Podcast on YouTube if not already. I got another lovely lady joining us, Barb Hartman from the Pacific Northwest. It's going to be a fantastic show. She's also got a great YouTube channel. I have her channel pinned here in the description of the show. I believe this is called Barb Hartman. Yeah, that's what I think it's called. She can correct me, but I believe that's what it's called. Also, please subscribe to Texas Front Porch on YouTube. Donnie Cho Says Stuff, Paranormal Paul, Monica Rollins, Our Paranormal World. Of course, I am Bigfoot Michigan Rob. Please subscribe if not already. Thanks to everybody for coming on in. Also, the Super Chat's open. A great way to help support what we all do around here. You, mateys. You can become BMR Pirates. Join today. Join the many. Join the few, depending on your point of view. Thank you for that. What you get, picture of me sporting a bandana next to your name in the chat room. Yeah, that's what you get. Some members only shows, there are not too many. I'm on 4 days a week. So, hey, it is what it is. Thanks for that. With that being said, I can't wait to get this show started. Hello to everybody in chat. Also, really briefly, thank you to everybody who's bought my books on Amazon. Bigfoot Michigan Rob presents True Cryptid Encounters books 1 and 2 available on Amazon. Simply type Bigfoot Michigan Rob in your Amazon browser. They'll both pull up. Please leave a review for those that have bought it. I do appreciate that. It's all analytics, much like YouTube. On YouTube, give a thumbs up, leave a comment. Well, on Amazon with book sales, just, leave a review if you bought the book. Hopefully you liked it. Thank you for that. With that being said, I am going to go to Missouri and pull up Krista. Hey, what's up?
Hey, I just found out my dog got stung by a bee, and I got all chaos going on here.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Well,
anyway, other than that, I guess it's good.
I don't know if you can see this, but my arm is bleeding for some apparent reason. I swiped off the blood. I don't know where the hell I got that from. It just happened like 2 seconds ago. Weird things happen.
By the bee?
Yeah, maybe it was.
Yeah.
I don't see the kitty cat.
I haven't seen the cat since I've been home. She's around somewhere.
She's around somewhere.
Somewhere. Yep.
So it's always a pleasure when you join me on this night, and we've got a great show in store for everybody.
Yep, looking forward to it. I like Barb. She's a good friend, and I like her work, and I like everything she does. So I'm looking forward to this.
I do too. So I'm not going to waste any more time. I'm going to bring up Barb Hartman. Make sure she's ready, and she's ready with a big smile. Hi, Barb.
Hi, buddy. Thank you guys
for the kind words, and thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
So great to love to talk to both of you anytime.
Your hair is really cute tonight too.
Thank you. Thank you. It's yeah, I had to spend a while on it because it was looking bad today.
Yeah, it does look nice. You look nice. Thank you. You know, I was talking backstage with you, and it just seems like yesterday, because this is your second time now on the show.
Yeah.
And so when I was looking back, I said I got to reach out to Barb, you know, a month ago or whenever it was. And I can't believe you were last on darn near over a year ago.
Wow. That doesn't seem like that long, but you know, it flies. It flies. Time flies.
You know, time flies. Time does fly.
That it does.
You know, so
yeah.
We're not going to dive into time.
No.
Because, you know, it seems like my years are just zipping by.
Oh, yeah.
Zipping by.
Same. Wow. Yeah. But it's all good. You know, it's better this side of the grave than, you know.
No, hey, hey, you know what we need with, you know, with the advancements in life, I guess, cultures, whatever your age is, you can go back, you can take a decade off of it. That's probably where we're all at. That's what I like to think anyway.
Yeah. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, me too.
You know, so. Well, I can tell you when I was in my 50s, I am in my 50s, but I remember when I was a little kid, everybody that hit 50 was just, they look so old.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we all look still pretty young. I mean, they look like, you know, ready to go away, right?
Yeah. I know.
It's weird.
That's what I was thinking. Like now I'm that age that now I'm old.
Yeah. Well, you know, and people say that, but that's not that old considering how time has changed, and it's all what it is all the junk they pump in our food, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
But, yeah. Keeps us alive, but you know.
I don't know about the rest, but hey, I'll take it.
Yeah.
So Bob, great to see you. You know, we're talking a little about your habituation, you know, where you live. Of course, you live in the Pacific Northwest, which is always cool.
Yeah.
You know, where everybody's.
How close are you to Seattle?
My husband's job. Because I was born, well, both of us were born and raised in Pennsylvania, and he works for a major insurance company, and we've moved around, kind of around the United States. We've never been this far. Well, this is about as far west as you can get. We've never been this far. The last place we lived was Illinois, Bloomington, Illinois. And so when they said, you want to go out to that, you know, it was Tacoma, Washington. And I look at it on a map and it's like, what the heck? That looks like it's not even in the United States. It looks like it's Canada. But we came out for our house hunting trip, and it's just magnificent. I really, really love it. I mean, it's
awesome.
Oh, love it. Love it. Love it.
How close are you to Seattle?
We are fortunately not that close. It takes about an hour from our house to get to Seattle. So just with traffic and everything, you know, so, but
we'll tell you why backstage after the
show. Yeah. So, we live on a, very rural, like peninsula. And so we have to take, you know, there's like some like 2-lane road that you have to go for a while on. So, and now where I'm at now is we just bought a house in for a short-term rental, like an, you know, investment, we're literally on the coast now. So we bought it in December. They were breaking ground, and it's a community, and so active here too. Awesome. Oh my gosh, because it's on the Olympic Peninsula, and I don't know if you guys have ever heard about the Olympic Peninsula.
Oh yes.
Oh man, it's crazy active. Yeah. So exciting. So yeah.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah, the Olympic Peninsula, we had, Krista had and Brandy had on, and I did, the guy, what was his name? Shane Corson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's been on a couple times for both of us. Really quickly, thanks to Kelly Sandiford. for your awesome support of the show.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kelly. Yeah. So, but yeah, when everyone thinks Sasquatch, Bigfoot, we all think, back in the day anyway, right? We all think about the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
But we all know that Bigfoot's in all 50 states.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Except for maybe Hawaii, maybe. I don't know.
I think that there's a form of, maybe
Something.
not like the same, as obviously is here in the Pacific Northwest, but I think that because isn't there like a smaller version? I can't remember what.
Well, there's
sure.
so many. Yeah, there's.
I'm not sure about Hawaii. I know there's no dogmen reported in Hawaii, but I don't know about Bigfoot.
Yeah.
There's probably something. I'll bet they have little people.
Yeah.
We'll go with that.
I'll roll the little people.
They definitely do. And they're not like Sasquatch. They're just like little
people.
More like humans, but I think they're more of like what do they call it? The Menihuna? I forget. Oh, that's terrible. I'm sorry. Somebody in the chat might know.
I think you're pretty accurate. I think the Manahuna it's called.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So they might be similar. That's what's really interesting is I don't know what, because I see them, I get them in my videos and in my photos, the and not like a little person, like a human, this is like some sort of they may be part human and some of them look very human, but I don't know. I have to look more into that because I don't know that much about it.
Yeah, I know a little bit, but again, they're small inhumanoids. I mean, they're not human. They got mixtures of other. Really, a lot of them come from the cryptid family, if that's such a subject matter. Cryptid family, not really, but
yeah.
But they're not one of us, right?
Right.
But there's something different. And I tell you what, you don't want to have a family of little people living around you because I understand they can be quite nasty.
Oh, really?
I don't know anything about them.
Some, not all.
Yeah,
of course, then you have the puck wedgie, which is kind of like a little person, but that's more of a.
They're like a
monster,
anteater, porcupine looking thing.
Yeah, they don't look at all like a human being.
No. I actually had a video. I have a video that I got of them very early on. It's like one of my first videos on my channel. And I didn't realize I'm going to have to change the title to say what it is because I'm like, what am I looking at? You see it materialize and then it goes away. And I thought it looked like a dog, but not like a dog, because it had like the sticking out, ears and yeah. So I've never had any problems with them because I understand that, the pukwudgie, they can be.
Their whole goal is to, I think, like lure you to your death.
Yeah, they're not something you want at all. They despise human beings.
Wow. Right. They're in the same area as the Sasquatch at my house. So I don't think the Sasquatch would put up with that.
Well, maybe depends on how they get along with each other. Now, with that being said, Sasquatch at your house. So again, I've watched your channel, Barb Hartman. It's called Barb Hartman.
Yeah, but there's a couple Barb Hartman, so it's no drama Bigfoot.
Okay,
so,
yeah. Well, then
look for my picture because I have my picture standing like behind like a big tree.
Yeah, I've seen that. In fact,
mega tree stuff.
In fact, I got I have your YouTube link here, so for people go check it out. Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
So before we get into your habituation, what was the first thing growing up or whenever this came across? You could have been 30, 40, I don't know. When did you first, what drove you into your interest with Bigfoot or Sasquatch?
It's something that I've always been interested in. And I think my first introduction, I can remember as a young child, my dad showing me the Patterson-Gimlin film. And then we watched the Legend of Boggy Creek and just some things like that. He was into it, but not like, certainly not like I am. And I had asked him one time, and the thing is, my dad had such a, like, you never knew if he was joking or not, so I said, did you ever see one? And he said, oh yeah. And he said, I forget what he called it, like the hairy man or or wild man, or he was fishing up in on Lake Ontario, and I believe they were in Canada, and like at a kind of a remote. I know they had to hike in, and they'd have to carry the boat that they would use, to fish. And he said that's where they had seen one. But
Wow.
I wish that I would have asked him more, because I wasn't as into
Were
it.
Were you a believer then, or did you believe him?
I believed him, and I believed that they, I believe that there was a potential that they existed. I really thought, though, that it was more of like a, just like a big undiscovered ape that's kind of very elusive. And yeah, and I really thought that until we started having the the experiences that we are at our house. I mean, they're not just, there's no, I'm sorry, like people that think that that's what they are. There's so much more. Their abilities are
A lot more to them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. When did you realize that when you moved to where you're at, like that, did you think, it might be something else, or did you immediately think Bigfoot?
No, well, it's funny because I've been very much interested, I have to say, from that. I mean, people knew that was just my thing, which is weird, right? Because it's like, did I know that, you know what I mean? I know that this was did they have me, they say like they mark you and then I don't know, but it's really weird how that was one of the things that I was always so like obsessed with. Maybe not obsessed, but just, just a major interest with and also like the Loch Ness Monster, cool things like, such cool haunted ghosts and things, until I lived in a haunted house, and I'm like, this is not right. So when we were moving out here, my son actually said to me, he said, "Hey mom, you know where you're moving? It's Pierce County, Washington. They had the most reported Sasquatch sightings in the United States at the time. I believe we might still be number one, but I'm not sure." And so I was like, "Oh, that's cool." But it's one thing to believe, but then when you start to experience the first evidence that we got, actually my husband found, it was a big footprint that looked like a human footprint, but it was like 18 inches long.
It's a big one.
Our house sits on a very steep lot, and so it was kind of like under the house, because the house sits out, and it's under the house. There's a little bit of just dirt and gravel under there, and that's where he saw it. And there was one fully formed one that was perfect, and then there were a few that were just partial. So I think that it maybe stepped there and then was trying to kind of move just around, and then there's plenty of other grass and gravel path and stuff that it could go on. So, but yeah, so he's the one that actually found that first. And right in at the same time, we also found these big boulders on our beach. We live on the Puget Sound, and we found these big rocks like overturned. And that is not something that a human could do. I mean, I don't even know how many. I think like they bring in big equipment usually to do something like that. So yeah, so that was really weird, right?
You mentioned something earlier before we move on about how we all got interested in Bigfoot. I was always interested in weird stuff, even as a little kid, with ghosts and the paranormal.
Same, me too.
And for me, though, and I was big into monsters growing up, but I think most people that are like in our age group, I guess, for me, it was always In Search of Leonard Nimoy, and then when I saw Patterson Gimlin. And it seems like, and I'm like, yep, those things are out there.
Yeah, they absolutely are.
When did you first realize or recognize when you actually had a family of Bigfoot where you live? Was it at this current location, or is it they followed you, or walk us through that whole history?
Well, my current, we're staying here temporarily, in this house, in this rental house.
Gotcha.
It's our house, but it's, we're going to put it in the, I don't want to, I'm going to try to I'm hoping we don't. So I'm trying to drag, my feet. So like, yeah, let's do more. Let's do more. But anyway, because I absolutely love it here. But no, I don't think it's the same like ones or family or anything.
Okay.
It's just this is just a really super active area.
Yeah.
Back at our house, which is I think it's like about 65 miles, I'd say, as the crow flies. So it takes us about 2.5 hours to get here. But back there, it's again rural area. There's been a ton of activity. Do you guys remember it's the 911 call that is, I think it was from maybe the late 80s or early 90s, where the guy calls and says, hey, you better get somebody out here. That was like 5 miles from our house.
That's like one of my favorite audios.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a big history, but it's still, it doesn't hit home until you hear. I think the first thing that made me like, oh, is when I heard them, because they were starting to, they left the footprint. They were starting to leave prints around, but it's not conducive to having a trackway at all. It's just, you find a footprint here, a footprint there.
Sure.
They had, I believe it was them. I don't know what else it could have been, torn up this like hillside, because there's, they're called winterberry or kinnick plants. And I have since found that the Native Americans in this area and possibly the Sasquatch will use the roots of these plants, especially so the more mature the root is, the better the healing properties. There's several healing properties. And that's the thing that I believe they were trying to get at these roots.
Right.
And we know it wasn't another animal. And this is what's weird. We literally have a perimeter of security cameras around the house. And so they're so smart how they can avoid that.
Yeah.
How they can avoid the cameras. And so, all this stuff is happening. And then they had, I'm assuming right outside of our family room window, there was a big tree break. And then a few days later, so the first tree's like this, a few days later, here's another tree. And this tree was not broken. It was like just kind of bent over and then pinned under the first. So that would have required, the tree break to be picked up, and then they're like, tuck this other one in. So it's forming this X. And within a few days, there were ferns stuck in it and like some vines. It was so, and so shortly thereafter, so I'm talking to some researcher, friends of mine, and they said, well, you probably should start documenting all this. And I'm like, okay. And I had found a pretty cool structure with my son and my son-in-law in the out in the woods near, next to our property. And it looks like it looked like an igloo, but built out of sticks and stuff.
Right.
So I thought that's the place that I really want to go to. And then I'd also seen some teepee structures in this area. So I went in there and I was walking around for a while. I was told, bring your phone, but whatever you do, don't have it on and don't be walking around with it, because you're never going to see one. And I honestly was not ready to see one at that time. I thought, that's fine. I don't want to see one yet. But so I was in there about an hour walking around, and I was just ready to head home. I was saving that wood igloo area for the last part of the hike. And as I'm going to that, I was about 15 feet away from that. And I heard the two grunts. And what was so cool is, I don't know if any of you watch, oh my gosh, what's the Finding Bigfoot? No, the one, Expedition.
Okay. I do watch
Expedition Bigfoot. And they had on this last season, I think it was Russell Acord, had that double grunt. And I'm like, that is exactly what I heard. And I was able to record it, because what I had done is I stuck my phone in this little lanyard, the plastic lanyard that I just kind of wear, around my neck, a little pouch with a lanyard. And I wasn't walking or just, going, but I didn't realize until I got back into my house. I got to my house because afterwards, now here's the other thing. And I know some of you have heard this story, but I knew nothing about getting hit with infrasound. And I'm not saying that that's, for sure what happened to me. But after that, it grunted at me, and it was a grunt that I literally felt like I felt like in my chest. When you're,
I know.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it was weird because it was loud, but it wasn't that loud. But there's something that they can do that's just lung power, I guess, that I could feel that. And I thought, so I don't know what this thing is. I'm pretty darn sure it was a Sasquatch at the time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, but I'm just kind of backed up about maybe 15 steps. And then I thought, all right, I'm not gonna run. I'm just gonna slowly. So I turned around, I'm slowly walking. And then as soon as I turned around, I was hit with this feeling of like extreme vertigo, not nausea, but very disoriented.
Hey, Barb, excuse me for 1 minute.
Yeah.
I'm inept with some certain words. I've heard of vertigo. What exactly is vertigo?
It's when extreme dizziness, extremely. And have you ever had a dream where you're trying to walk forward and you can't? I don't know. I've had dreams like that.
Well, I've had all sorts of weird dreams. Yeah, I've experienced that.
Me too.
I've experienced that fully awake.
Yeah. But like my legs were, I just felt like, I don't know. It was just, I was having it was terrible. And I was thinking, my gosh, what's happening to me? Like I was literally thinking I'm having a heart attack or a stroke. That's what's happening.
Right.
I just hope I don't die in the woods here. And my family, they knew where I was, but hopefully they'll, so all of a sudden this feeling left me. It completely left me. And I was totally normal. So I'm like, whoa, catching my breath, and like, wow, I wasn't walking back toward my house. There was a deep ravine between where I was, which is what I was walking toward. And I thought, what the heck was I doing? Like, I had no idea that I was doing that. Like, that's what's so weird. Well, Rob, you've had, if you have missing time, but I can't even say it was missing time. It was just so strange. So I correct my course. I'm like, okay, don't want to walk into the ravine, and correct my course. And I'm walking. And then I could see the roof of one of our outbuildings. We call it a carport. It's like a pole barn. And I thought, okay, see that. And then that feeling came over me again, that same exact thing. And walking. So I'm like, oh my gosh. Literally just looking at the roof and saying, you got to make it to that, because at that point I know I can crawl out to the driveway and they'll find me. I really, really thought I was having a heart attack or a stroke, because I thought my heart's pounding, but I didn't have any pain. But anyway, you would, because why all of a sudden that happens? That's never happened to me in my life before. So, as soon as I got to the property line, the feeling left again. And I was completely normal. And then I'm like, whoa. And then I'm excited because I go in the house, and because it was a Sunday afternoon, and I go in and I'm telling my family, and they're like, oh yeah, sure. Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep.
And so I'm like, no, wait, and then because I realized that my phone at that point though was dead, because when I looked down, and I don't know if my phone, I don't know, did it die from being hit with the infrasound? Plenty of battery,
right.
When I went in, but I plug it in, and I'm, getting it charged up, and I got that. I was able to get it. And it died right after that. So again, I don't know if them, zapping me, if that's what, but yeah, so that was when I was like, okay, now I know.
Right.
And it just kind of escalated from there,
Yep, absolutely. I was looking for your link. I was going to share that in your Facebook group real quick.
Oh, yeah.
me off
Barb
guard there for a minute.
Yeah. So actually, your YouTube channel is the same name as your Facebook group, correct?
Yes.
Barb?
Yes.
Barb Hartman No Drama Bigfoot,
Mhm.
or it's just
Yeah.
called No Drama Bigfoot, right?
Yeah, because my Facebook is No Drama and Cryptids, but I think on Facebook, or I'm sorry, on YouTube and on TikTok, it's just No Drama Bigfoot, because that's pretty much what I mostly, I concentrate on.
And I mod for her.
Yes, yeah, you have from day one, and I really appreciate it. Yeah, we've been.
Well, actually, Barb, you do some moderation or admin
You
work
are,
on
too.
my channel.
Really?
You were my first one, I think.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't even think I knew you back then. I'm like, who the hell is this Barb chick?
I think it was all Bettina.
It was so
yeah,
that was so
okay.
sweet. She just was like, I'm going to stick you in these groups and introduce you to people,
She did
because because I didn't
That's
was
how I met you. Was
Yeah.
like, Bettina hooked me up. Like, are you sure this woman's okay with me moderating her group?
Oh, Krista asked me this. I go, Barb, who? I don't know who this Barb is. And I of course had to. Then I found you. I said, she's cool.
That's funny.
Yeah, I've been on some pages, and a lot of the pages here in the Pacific Northwest, and people were so mean and so and
They're all, there's the Flesh and Blood camp, and then there's the woo camp, and I was that Flesh and Blood, like you said you were too. We all thought they were apes out there in the woods, and little did we know, huh?
Well, hey, listen, we've all evolved, unlike some other people.
Yeah.
We won't talk about that, right?
Right.
Bob, I do have to ask you this though before we move on with your incredible experiences. Telling your closest friends and family, I got Sasquatch. I mean, do they believe you today, or they just think, okay? I mean, it's one of those questions that you don't have to answer, but everyone believes me today.
Yeah.
They still look at me a little oddly.
I think that's most people will laugh, but all I have to do is share the audio, and then I don't know what else is it. I don't have what else. What am I doing? And it's not something like, I don't know. I can't, especially if some of my audio I've been able to put through a spectrogram, and so that's not something. Right. and I mean, I think as it's gone on, it's been more believable, because even my husband was a skeptic as far as, I mean, he's the one that saw the footprint though. And so thought that, there's a possibility, but some of the stuff that I was hearing or seeing, he's like, I don't know about that. And he's still kind of, he will, I mean, we both try to debunk everything, but if there's no other explanation, then I'm going to say it's Sasquatch, because I feel like if I throw everything out, then but it's funny, the things that he thinks like, oh, that's definitely Sasquatch, and I'm like, really? Okay.
Yeah.
But okay.
Right. That's funny.
Well, you get excited when you believe, we all are knowers because we've seen them. But it's exciting for people when they catch on, they think it's something that's for real, but then when they hear a twig break or footfall, oh my God, it's Bigfoot.
My whole family thinks I'm nuts. So, so last weekend, I went to the Bigfoot festival, and I got all the kids little something, T-shirt and stuffed animals or something. And I took it over to my granddaughter. My son's like, well, didn't you get me one? I'm like, it's Bigfoot stuff. Since when are you going to wear Bigfoot?
Yeah.
I would. I'm like, oh, it's news to me.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones think I'm crazy because I believe. I know,
I have heard a lot of Barb's audio, and I've looked at her channel,
and I've seen her videos.
She's got cool evidence on her channel. Go check her out. And I have to ask you, Barb, when was the first time when you were, because you have great audio.
Thank you.
But you also have some very good video. But when was the first time when you had your eyes and you're peering in and said, "Oh my gosh, I think that might be a Bigfoot or a Sasquatch." Do you recall that day?
There's been
Take your
I
time.
know because there's been so much, the first one, the first one that I would say, I know, okay, and I call him Tree Man because I don't know, and I guess it's a Sasquatch, but then people had said it's possibly another cryptid, like a dryad. I don't know. Is that
Druid?
Druid? No, not a druid. It's like a dryad. It's like a tree spirit. I don't know, but I saw
Elemental, maybe. Yeah. Okay. Well,
plain
anyway.
as day. But his face looked like, his skin looked like tree bark, and he really blended in so well with this tree. And I'm thinking, wait, that's not. I don't like. It looks like a person, but I'm not sure. And I was taking video. I was zoomed in as much as I could. And it wasn't until I got home and I was able to put it on the big screen and had my husband and my son-in-law look at it. And they're like, yeah, that definitely does look like something sitting there. And so then I'm like, okay, now I have to go back out and try to get the guts, the courage. Cause that is scary though. I mean, that, I'm much less fearful now than I was. But and I don't want to, I'm hesitant when I go out to have somebody with me because I feel like they're not going to be as visible as they are. Because now I have to tell you, now it's to the point where I can look in the area, and I call it area A, like the active area. I can see it from my driveway. I can look in there, and at any time I could see them just kind of sitting around, chilling, just like they will look at me, but like from the ones that are the furthest away will look at me. If they're close, they kind of just, it's kind of like, and I hate to say this, but it's like seeing like animals at a zoo.
Right.
But I hate to say that because if, I feel like they are part human. So that seems.
Yeah, no, I think you're correct with that assessment. But when you kind of see them, do you just see the outline or do you just see them like deer, like a deer or a bear or something?
I can see them. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And sometimes there's things that I can't, I'm not sure what's going on, even if it's in the video. Like there was this one, I don't think I recorded this because I thought I don't want to mess this up. I just want to keep this in my mind because they are not cloaking. They're just literally, was one sitting there. There was a big one standing behind, like in the back. And I could see him perfectly, like just the outline. I couldn't see his face or anything, just his outline. And then there was one standing closer that looked like it had on like a big plastic garbage bag, but it was a bright green color. And then there was a solid black one sitting next to. There was a sitting kind of next to that thing that looked like it had the garbage bag on, and then there was a brown one that was sitting like kind of across from that. It's just they just sit there like
hanging out.
Yeah, but what was weird about this thing that looked like it had, I don't know what it was. It was holding something, I guess it was, but it was like undulating, so I'm like, I don't know, was that a tail? But it was It was big. It was not big. It was maybe, I'm gonna guess like this thing was maybe, so I don't know, 5-6 inches, and it was and it was moving. And it really looked like a tail, but I don't know what tail. A cat's tail would do that, not a dog's tail. I don't know, but that's the kind of stuff that
Hey, really quickly, I will let you know, since we are all you're wondering, Duke just had a post about dryads and what they are. I had it somewhere just really quickly because it's pretty interesting. Duke is like an encyclopedia.
Oh, cool.
And I had it here somewhere.
I'm looking back for it too.
Here it is. Dryad is a female forest spirit, leshe or leshy. I've heard of that as well. It's another type of forest spirit, Eastern Europe and Russian descent. So, well, there we go.
So I would like to is he still in the chat? If you're still in the chat.
Duke's in chat. In fact, Duke will be on my show Thursday. We're doing a show on mountain giants.
Oh, cool.
Oh yeah, so
let's check that out.
So,
So forest elemental is what Jason's saying.
Yeah.
Now, so this thing was so well camouflaged, and then I went back out and it wasn't there. So I'm like, okay, well now I know that it was something. And then a few days later, maybe a week, I don't know, I go back out thinking that I was seeing things the first time, but this thing is back again. And this time it turned its head a little bit, and I saw that it had this very silky black hair. It was like kind of just like back from its head and maybe like shoulder length. And it was so black. It was so silky. I'm like, wow, that's really beautiful hair. And I just caught a brief glimpse of it because it kind of like turned its head. And then, and then I knew, okay, this is a thing. So I don't know if that's a Bigfoot or a dryad or tree man. I don't know. I only saw that one once. And in that, there was like maybe a 2-week time period. I haven't it since then. So
do you think the ones that are around your property, like that they know you and they trust you, because you made the comment about having others with you, that they're comfortable with you? So
I think they are. I think that that was I've taken advice of people that say you want to have a mutual respect.
Sure.
I don't want to have picnics or barbecues with them. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I don't want to go into their house and bug them. I don't want them to come into my house and bug me. But I think that there's been enough, I've tried to do interaction with them. I gift, but it's very rare, and it's not, it's mostly like trinkets or little fun things like that.
Yeah, just don't tell me it's food.
No, once in a while, but it'll be something like apples, like organic apples. They seem to like them. The Granny Smith is what they like.
Well, it's everybody's favorite, Granny Smith.
I feel like I like Granny Smith, but a lot of people don't.
I wasn't joking. I like everyone I know. Oh, Granny Rob, you got my Granny Smith.
Yeah,
Granny Smith are the good baking ones, I think, because aren't they a little bit more tart?
They're very tart, but they are really good out here though too, because they have it's very tart, but it's enough of a sweetness. But I bought several bags of organic apples and several different kind, because and you know what? They will not eat if it's not organic. They will not eat them. They will not. No, which is it's like wow.
They know.
So all the apples were left, but the Granny Smith were the ones that disappeared. And so I'm like, well, that's and so out here I had some Granny Smith. My husband and I came out like it was 2 weeks ago, and I had bought a bag of Granny Smith apples, and they were very tart. Like they would be better for a baking apple. So they weren't organic, whatever. So I ate one, and I'm like, this is too much. So I thought, I'm going to put them out in an area here. And I had some leftover tomatoes and a pear. Well, the pear is gone. The tomatoes are gone. These 2 apples have sat there and they haven't moved. So I'm gonna go check again tonight because it's pretty close. Where our house is here, there is let me see. I'm going to say maybe 200 feet away is Department of Natural Resources land.
Okay.
So it's. Yeah. So, I mean, so cool. And there's a lot of trails here that border that. So I've been getting a lot of good stuff here. It's actually, it's like overwhelming because you don't see them when you're out film, when you're recording. A lot of times you don't see them. They're so close. And so I don't know.
Wow. Very cool. I know one time you had told me, I don't know if it was on this show or my show or whose show you were on, but you had talked about a young one you thought you had seen or something. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. This is one of the first ones that I saw that was, that I'm like, okay, this is what this is a Bigfoot. So this would be, I guess, back to answer Rob's question a long time ago. When you said the first one. So the tree, but the second one was, I'm looking back. This is, I'm in that area that the active area, and it's actually right in the area that they grunted at me. And so, but I'm not. I don't go that deep in because I don't want to breach that like kind of trust. And I think that this has been, I haven't been to that area. I haven't been right to that area. It's been 2 years, but so I'm there, but I'm not walking to the spot, I should say, not the area. I'm not walking to the spot where they're all hanging out and they're all like, but I can see them. So I thought, wow, now that looks like she was solid black and she's holding a baby. And this I saw with my like naked eye. And then she stood up and kind of had the baby like hitched up on her hip. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Actually, this is a photo because I was able to record her. Well, she allowed me to do this when I went back out another time and she was there, except I think it was her butt, because I'll tell you what, the one that I first saw, her hair was like, so she's solid black and everything's black. Her skin was like a tan kind of a color, not black, but like a tan. But she had, her hair was like sticking straight out around her head, almost like she had like a fur coat on, when you'll, and she had, had the baby. Then it wasn't that much longer. I went back out, and this time I'm recording and she's there again. She didn't stand up this time, but I had my phone, but she allowed me to get a picture of her. And it's not crystal clear, but this one is on, it's on my YouTube channel. It's like, your photo, the big I guess you'd say like a cover photo. I don't know. Yeah. So you can see her face, and the baby's kind of.
That's awesome. Yeah. So do you, like, when you're outside day or night, do you get the feeling like being watched and stuff like that where, Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Cause you can, I can tell now when they're watching, they're not always, but, but what it is, it's very creepy. It has altered I used to love to go outside at night, and walk around in my driveway and walk kind of around the property. And I will go out if I take the dog out or do something, or, but I don't do that anymore. It's just because you really feel, that. Now I'll go out on, we have our deck and then our front porch. But I can see them at night sometimes from there, and they make more noise. So, it's
just, I got to ask you this. I'm trying to think if it was myself in your situation. And so far we haven't heard anything outrageous, right? Does it ever though bug you a little bit knowing that sometimes they're just there watching you? I mean, I know it's not an invasion of privacy, but then again, is it? I mean, as a human being, right? Yourself, and you just want to hang out with the husband, the grandkids, whatever. Sometimes you wish that they weren't around as often, or am I incorrect? Are they just only there a couple times during the month? It's not like a daily thing, is it?
Not a daily thing, but I don't think they leave the area. I think that some of them do. There's a few that I know I can recognize them from the audio, and I don't think that they're around right now, but there's not a lot of time. There might be like 2 weeks, 3 weeks that I won't hear them, and then I'll hear them again. But no, because I'm better with that. But there were a few months about a year ago where I was really struggling. Like, this is so overwhelming. Like and then I thought, I feel like not thankful. I feel like a brat. Like, who do you think you are, Barb? Like, people would love to be in this situation. And you're like, I don't think I like this. Like, what? So I really try to, and I also, it makes me, so I had seen one, and I think I saw one though before I was on your show a year ago, the one in the bush. And when I saw her, and she was 6 feet away from me, I think it was a female. I just got that like feeling of like female energy. And I think she was probably like a teenager. And I screamed, and she put her head down, like we locked eyes, and she put her head down, and I ran in the house, and that bothered me though, because it's like, I should not have done that. Like I made her scared. And so I try to think about that. Like, I don't want to hurt their feelings. I don't want them to think they're monsters. And I've had, I guess, like mind speak from them there, and they will say, why do you want, people think we're ugly monsters. Why do you want to keep taking pictures and taking video of us?
When you get them,
yeah, go ahead.
Really quickly, when you get the mind speak, it's in your mind, and you know it's them. It's just like verbal.
Yeah, you get thoughts and pictures, and sometimes it's words, but it's not like sometimes I'll see like actually literally they'll put a word in my mind. Okay. And you'll see the word in your mind, but and sometimes there'll be like a dialogue, but it's not like a back and forth dialogue. So it's different. I think it's like different than telepathy, where, you know exactly what's you're kind of reading somebody's thoughts or whatever. This is like, I think they're like putting this in my mind, because it comes out of nowhere. It literally comes out of nowhere. Right. And it's like, whoa, wow. Your cat.
How close?
She has to make her appearance.
That's the kitty cat. Yeah, she likes the show.
Oh, that's so sweet.
She likes BMR. She hears it when she comes. It's crazy.
Yeah. I have all sorts of fans.
Yeah.
Hey, how close have they gotten up to your property?
They've gotten pretty close. I don't know if they've been on the deck, which is really close to the house, but I know that they're under the decks, because I can hear them so well on the, but I also think, but you know what though, I also think that I know they go up on the roof. The little ones go up on the roof and run around, because you can hear that sometimes. And this is something like my husband was like, I don't know, because I would play, the recording that you're hearing this like it's like a a concussive movement, but he's like, I don't know, it could be the wind or whatever. I'm like, yeah, okay, there's no wind, but it's definitely sounds like running. But one night, it was about a month ago, and he said, I think I heard your friends on the roof last night. And I'm like, what do you mean? He said, I heard this, like you said, like running, like and it's the little ones, it's not the big ones.
It's the pitter patter of 4 foot, Sasquatch.
Yeah. And now, but some people were like, oh, maybe it's raccoons. And I'm like, raccoons, we've had raccoons on the roof before. They don't make noise like that. This is, but I've also gotten some audio of a little one that sounds like it's right at the camera, and the camera sits up, we have it like tucked under the roof line. So, and it sounds like, so I think that I know that they know that the camera's there. So I think that one night, this little one was kind of like he's going to, make the noise close to the, so, and there's something else that I was thinking I was going to tell you. I don't know.
Well, while you're thinking about that, and everybody go to Barb's channel, because all her audio and video is all on her channel. Go subscribe. We had a little problem getting some of the things downloaded.
I have one. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe that I could play.
And
then, because I know, and I always have an issue too, because I think it's the laptop that I have doesn't like stream whatever, So, but here's a video that so what happened with this one, and it's only, most of my videos are short, because that's how long the audio occurs. So this one was odd though, because I don't normally hear them this early they're normally from like midnight to 3-4 in the morning. And it's definitely from like 1 to 3 is the most active that they are. But this night I was back in my room and I'm thinking, what's that noise? Like I could hear this noise outside and I didn't know what it was. And I thought, oh, maybe I should just try the camera. I feel like it was like 8 o'clock at night or 7 o'clock. It was because it was like toward the winter. And then here's what, and this was like this night, it was like you'll see, it's like whoops, like, anyway, I'll play it.
Sure.
You guys hear that?
Oh, perfectly.
Now it starts to like it is moving further away.
Yeah. Wow. That for number one, for playing it over the microphone, that was clear as heck.
Yeah, it is. And it almost sounded human to me.
Yes.
And
yes.
I was thinking something, and I noticed a lot of people commented the same thoughts I had. You can tell it sounds younger. Didn't have that deep, the deep vibrato.
Maybe it was calling for the parent or
maybe. I don't know.
That's really cool.
There's one that like makes like a cooing sound, and my husband actually heard that last summer. And the one that I recognize the most is the one that has that deep, incredibly deep. That I guess he's the not alpha male, because I was told that that's not what their family structure is not like that. And he would be like the clan elder. So and it's funny, my dog is not afraid of him, which I call him Mont, because one night when I was listening on the camera and recording, he comes and does his vocal, like his grunt, and then this word Mont, M-O-N-T, like flashed in my, like I'm just laying in bed, like, and it like flashed in my brain, and I, whatever, and I'm like, wait, Mont? I'm like, is that your name? And then the flash of the Mont again, and then there was like a, and then I'm like, okay,
telling you yes.
So then I'm like, okay, if you're Mont, and this is all in my head, I'm like, okay, if you're Mont, do it again, and then he didn't. So, but he was also like, probably like,
awesome. Yeah.
Tell me, what do you want me to do?
When you get those noises, those grunts and things like that, you said your dog isn't afraid, but does your dog bark?
No. But he will, Asher will hide though. There's some noises that, he gets, like if I'm reviewing, I have to have the headphones on, because Asher will go and hide in his crate or hide under the bed. But he's not doing it anymore when I'm listening and I can hear the alpha, that the Mont. Right. And I think that's, I don't know. That's pretty cool to me, because he used to be, but all of a sudden. But the other thing is, and this is how I know that I know that my son-in-law definitely believes, and he and my daughter live with us. And my daughter actually saw, I believe she's the one that first saw, but she didn't know what it was. It was standing in the tree line, and it had these, it was like, she said it was like two big, like spotlights. Oh, wow. But not like, wait, I'm trying to think how she said it. It was like two big spotlights, but not super bright. She said it was like the light was in this, it wasn't like it was shining out. It was like in, and it was like a bright blue, like a beautiful bright blue. But she, she was scared. She was taking the dog out and looks up and sees this. And then, and then came like running in, and she's like, I something's out there in the tree line. And then somebody here, I think her husband took the dog out, took the dog back out. So, all right. Oh yeah. I was trying to think of but until she started to hear the audio, and a lot of the stuff she won't listen to because it does scare her. Just the thought of it scares her.
Right.
Like if we're outside at night on the deck, you can hear them rustling around. And one night it was like they were close, and she's like, oh, I'm like, yeah, I was even like, let's go in. But with Asher, our dog, I was told that maybe that the young ones are probably like kind of messing around with him and like terrorizing him, because he would just get scared at night and would run around. He literally like is looking out the windows toward the forest and just crying, and would sit in front of me and cry. And then so this went on for a while, and then like I said, then a friend of mine said, hey, they might be, just get out there and tell them, so like to knock it off. So I did, and we didn't have any problems. Asher was like fine for a few weeks. Then it happened again, and my daughter said, and this is how I know, that she believed, because she's like, Mom, would you do like what you did last time? I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, go out there and tell them and then knock it off. So I know. So I'm like, oh, she does believe. So that's a regular practice now. But the last time where it was really bad, because it hasn't been like that since, it was really bad. It was starting to make me mad, because this was going on, and I was telling them, please stop, what you're doing, whatever, because the dog's just like a mess every night.
Right.
And so I finally was like, you know what? I go out and I'm like, okay, knock it off. I'm going to tell your parents, because I know that it's not, I think it's the juveniles or adolescents doing this. I don't know what they're doing.
Mom, that's funny.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm going to tell your dad. I'm going to tell your parents. That night, I get Mont. I call him Mont, the clan elder. Is like, I can hear him walking up to the camera, and he's grunting, and like he's pissed. He's really pissed. And then he's like growling, and then there was the cooing one, and I have this, it's on my channel. The cooing one is like, ooh, like almost like you would say like a mom and a dad, like, it's just calm down. Like he was really mad, and I'm like, oh, that's sweet, because I think that he was like, knock it off. I don't like the fact of what you're doing. And then there wasn't problems after that. And if they are, it's like, I'll just go outside and tell them, to knock it off.
Yeah.
But I want to tell you guys, this is something that happened just really recently. My daughter, Asher was, one night, let me see. Time goes so fast, I want to say 6 weeks ago. I'm not sure. Recently. And he was crying one night, and she's like, Mom, go out. And I'm like, okay. So I go out and told him, knock it off. And it's starting to kind of rain. I come back in, and Asher's still like freaking out. And he's literally like, kind of like up on his hind, like looking out the window. So I'm like, okay, come on, Matt. So I go out, and I'm like, knock it off. You guys really, like, I'm really getting mad. Like, this is rude, don't hurt my dog. And I turned around and got something like thrown at me. Now, so it was like it didn't hurt, but it was enough of like a sting, that I'm like, oh, what did you guys do? And then I heard, like, it sounded like kids that were like boys that were maybe like 10, 11, like this, like, I'm like, oh my gosh. And there's no way for me. Yeah. Like on our hillside, which there's no kids there. So, and I had heard that giggling before, but I wasn't sure of what it was. I think maybe like last summer, and I wasn't sure, but now I'm like, yeah, that's what that is. Yeah. It sounded just like human kids. That's awesome. It's just bizarre.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's fantastic. Also, I don't mean to switch the subject, but I just briefly, I know you have a ghost of an Indian in your woods too.
Yes, I do.
Now, I'm going to guess it's related to the Sasquatch.
Yeah, I mean,
she has a picture of it, and it's clear as day.
And it stands among the Sasquatch. So I think it's, I get it. I've gotten, a couple of different ones. That was the one that was like, you're like, okay.
I remember when you sent that to me, I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's legit.
Why you got to send me that, Barb? I got to see that.
Yeah. I think I have that on my channel, but I'm not sure. Because that's like kind of like some of the stuff, honestly, it's just so weird, you know, and I think there's a lot of things that I'll show like on my page, my Facebook page, or I'll just put in the admin, I'll like put stuff in the admin chat, or just there's a little group of my female researchers that I'll put it in there. Like, what do you girls think about this? And because some of this stuff is just,
it's first of all, great show, everybody. Please subscribe to Barb's YouTube channel. I have it pinned in the description, very easy, and also on her Facebook. And I got to ask, Krista brought up the ghost thing, and then I said First Nations thing. So in Washington State, I'm sure that maybe you have, maybe you haven't. I don't put words in your mouth, but what's your maybe association, or have you spoken with any of the First Nations of America? And because, most of the folks I've spoken with believe Sasquatch is more of a spiritual entity, a protector of the forest. They can flip-flop between the flesh and blood, but there's always that supernatural or that spiritual factor. So have you spoken with any of the tribes and gotten their take on perhaps maybe your own property, or what their opinion is?
I haven't gone to the tribes per se, because they don't like that. Me. Well,
I know that's a tough.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't expect you to go to a reservation.
Yeah.
I'm an American. Friends
that are, that are researchers, or that I know through, Facebook, or I know through other people. And they have said that this is very common. What's going on. And they said I may have been, I don't think I'm Native American. That has not shown up in any of my ancestry, but I could have been in a past life, apparently, is what several of them told me. And we were only the second owners of that property. And in, I think, let me see, like 1890, it was like a Puget Sound Land Company or whatever took it. And there were Native Americans, living everywhere. I mean, it was very common. So,
maybe they chose you.
Maybe. I don't know.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, you give off a great vibe, and, you're not out there to hurt them. You're not out there to, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't know. Possibly.
You were chosen.
Yeah. And then I'm not, I'm not fearful. I mean,
Right.
So yeah, it's pretty cool on this show because, and I say this all the time, and people know me anyways, I'm still not the guy that says Bigfoot's the friendly forest giant just because of what happened to me. I get that, but I know they're not demons. I know they're not out to get us. I've totally changed my viewpoint since 2018. I have, since I've been doing this, and I get it. I'm not afraid. Not today. But let me ask you, have you had any experiences outside of maybe the annoying experiences with the dogs where you were a little bit frightful, or you've always been pretty much, it's been laid back and nothing that you were all too concerned about?
There's never been anything where I felt like I was in danger or that they were aggressive whatsoever. But I think the thing that, where I felt like great fear, and this is me listening, and recording them, is that when they get close, especially the big one, is he's getting close, and I'm like, I can't listen to this anymore. So I once or twice shut my phone off, and then I'm like, oh my gosh. So now it's like, don't shut your phone off, or shut the app, like go out of the app, because I'm listening through my home security cameras app, and so I'll just turn the sound down. And then just keep recording. Maybe I'm not getting, the audio typically doesn't go on for a long time. Now there is one that has been closer to the camera, and I call that one the growler, because that's what it's like. It's making a growling noise. And I heard it when I first heard it, I don't know, within the last 2 years, but it was always like pretty far away from the camera. Now it's closer. But the weird thing about that is that if you run that through, like the software on my editing program, sometimes it doesn't sound like a growling. It sounds like like talking, like actual talking. I don't know. I have a theory that, how, and it's been, we believe it's been proven that their vocal range, in one little, whatever you want to say, one little period of second, there's, the range is like do. Whereas the humans, it's much more, compressed.
Sure.
So I think that this is the problem. Sometimes we're hearing things maybe different than they're actually, because it's what the human ear is hearing. Or I'll be listening live and I don't hear things that I hear in playback. And I also, it's really frustrating because people will say, and I don't blame them, they'll be like, this is so, it's so staticky. You need to get rid of the static, blah, 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 first of all, I'm not a professional. I have had people that are professional do things for me, but I can't be constantly bugging people. But a lot of them, and they will, there's, they'll attest to, you can't manipulate. And I think it's because of that range. If you take out some of the ambient noise, you're going to take out some of the vocal. And that's what I find a lot, that, and that's really frustrating, but it's whatever. It is what it is.
Right. Have you noticed anything other than like the Bigfoot, like possibly Dogman or anything like that around your property?
I have not, but they're showing up in videos and photos. And they did early on that people would say, oh, that's, you have Dogman. And I'm like, I don't think so. Like, I wasn't prepared for any of that, but I do think that, that now there's I don't know what they would refer to, like a family unit, that has moved into the area, but I think they're living peacefully with them. I mean, because they'll be in photos and in videos together.
Interesting.
And once in a while, I will hear what it sounds like a dog man. And what I have heard is that it's like a very deep, like just one, like a bark. And then that's, and then it like, whereas a dog will bark, bark. And this is just like one deep bark. And sometimes there's like a little, like a squeal at the end. I don't know what it is, like almost like a little whistle, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting to, I've always heard that in certain regions, the Bigfoot and Dogman, they tolerate each other. And I've also heard that Dogman is mostly of a Midwestern thing, more so than maybe the Pacific Northwest. I think they're probably all over, though. I mean, they roam, they go all over.
I believe they're all over.
Just like Sasquatch, I think, is all over. I think Dogman probably is.
But then if you look and you talk about being together, look at Martin Groves' encounter. He had both of them after him.
They're both, right.
Yeah. Right.
Like they were working together, So
so like, is that something where I think, is it too just bad, like two sets of groups of people, because there's people, and they kind of join up and and there's
I think there's good ones and there's bad, just like people and there's bad people,
Absolutely.
Like what Rob encountered, that was bad.
That was bad. It was, and then again, if I even break it down further, maybe it wasn't bad. But see, I've gone over my encounters so many times that I always try to make excuses that it was nice. Maybe it was protecting children in the area. I don't know.
It could have been.
And then I've talked to so many people, though. It's like I've got a million great people, by the way, a million different theory, so I can just go by what I seen, what I felt, and that's what I roll with today.
And
that's all you can do, really.
Was absolutely terrifying what you went through, and that's your truth. So whatever it is, what it is, right? Like
and so I even called it a demon at one point. Well, I don't think it is today.
Yeah, but I don't.
But at that,
I mean,
but at that instance, that's what I felt in my heart of all hearts, and that's what I roll with all the time, right? So,
Right.
So I'm going to ask you, with what you've seen and experienced now, you've seen like the flesh and blood side. Now, have you seen anything where it materialized out of a tree stump? Have you seen anything that looked phantomish, where you could see like where it was transparent? Was it always more solid, or was it just something that was kind of not quite physical, but yet not ghostly? I know that's kind of hard to put in your mind, but the in between.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you didn't see like a bear. We know what a bear is.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
You get what I'm trying to say.
Yes, and it's not going to waver. If you see a bear, it's not going to be like wavering in your eyesight.
Right. No.
And I have had that happen, but not as much as I've got on video. That's where it's happened. Because a lot of the times I either see them or I don't.
Sure.
But it is weird. Also the different like sizes that they look different. Like I think, I don't know, I think maybe they can do that. They can make themselves look bigger or make themselves look smaller. I don't know. I don't.
Well,
but yeah.
No, I know it's a question. It's tough for anybody to answer. I just throw it out there to hear where your thought is. And what you say is the like me and Krista, we've talked to Ron Moorhead a few times, and it's always like the quantum theory, right? Where they take this energy, they take their mass and convert it into energy, where they can make their size bigger or smaller, or move at 1,000,000 miles an hour, end up in Washington State before you know it, the same ones in Oregon. I mean, literally, within 2 minutes.
You know, I mean, it could be. Yeah, that's, I know. And what other explanation is it that they can do that? I've got some video and I have some photos where they're holding things that look like an orb. So people have said is that, that possibly they can make these orbs form and then they use it for transport. I don't know. I don't really have it. I don't have any opinion on that, except that I've been told, and I have just the other night, I was watching our camera at home. We have Arlo cameras, and we have 3 Arlo cameras, and we have a Wyze WYZE camera, because it has a little bit of it has a better, much better picture. So I can see a lot better on that. It doesn't, but the sound is just but I don't know if they're manipulating it. That's the thing. Right. They may be manipulating the sound, because the sound's fine during the day. When I'm watching and you can see that there's things going around, it's like the static, but the other night, and I still have to, I have so much that I honestly, like, I have to review and like, okay, what am I going to do with this? But I saw them standing like in the wood line, and it's like they're holding their hands up, and this like light it just looks like they're holding, I'll send you guys after the show. Yeah. It's just, I don't even know what to say. I don't.
Hey, listen, I know, and I just ask questions, and I get where you're going with all of them, because it is what it is. But you did mention the orbs, which of course is sparks another topic. We got about 10 minutes left.
Okay.
After the show, just hang out for a few minutes, because I know Chris has got something for you. Let's ask you. Okay. Now, Washington State also, though, is known for UFO sightings, orbs, and things of that. Have you ever, number one, seen UFOs and orbs? And if you have, has there been all of a sudden the presence of Sasquatch, which is a common thing, it seems?
I can't say I've ever seen a UFO.
Okay.
I've never seen an orb with my naked eye, but I have got video, and actually this is recently, but I'll tell you, my daughter, that is one of the things that when we moved to this house about maybe 7-8 months, she claimed one night that she was abducted, and she sticks to that, and has like some scars on her body, and many times now when she goes through airport security or like to a place where they're gonna and she'll trigger something, and but she doesn't like to talk. It's very scary to her. She doesn't like to talk about it, there for a while. I was having her work a little bit like with Lala Bright it was like been able to like extract, she was able to extract some information out of her, but she just, but what happened, this is a few weeks ago, my daughter and I were out on our back deck, and there was it would have been the full moon, not what was it, last night, the last full moon, so like a month ago. And it was very cloudy that night. And like I said, we live on the Puget Sound. So the full moon was casting these, like the moon's casting these like beautiful, weird, like sparkling on the water, because it was kind of piercing down through the clouds. Right. So I'm trying to take a picture of that. And it's usually fine, the iPhone, like in night mode. It's just, it does it automatically. Well, my phone would not stay in night mode. And I'm like, what the heck? So I'm taking pictures, and it would go into it, but then it would quickly go out. So then later on, I'm like, oh, there was an orb right in front of the camera. And I didn't see this at the time, because I'm just concentrating on, I want to get this picture of the beautiful, thing that's being caused on the water. Not thinking about any of that. So there's an orb, and then there is an orb that the orb is a little further away, and now it's like, then the orb looks like it's like orange. When during a lunar eclipse, how the moon gets orange? Well, that's what it was, like that color orange, and this is like a sequence of maybe 5-6 photos, and then the last one, it looked like two eyes, like eye shine, and I mean this thing was in the same spot, and I'm taking a picture of the same spot. Now, there again. But here's the weird thing. A friend of mine looked at it, and because I was like, what do you think about this? It was actually Tamara Wilson. She's one of, you guys might know her. She's amazing. She's so gifted. Her and Carrie Ann O'Meara are so incredibly gifted with the way they can read energy. But she said, oh my gosh, look, this orb, she said, it looks like it's smoking. And I'm like, well, the weird thing is my daughter uses a vape, which is legal here, for her anxiety. Yeah. And that's what she was doing. And I'm like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
It was so weird. Like, was it, I know, I don't know, it could be a coincidence, but you just have
I don't believe in coincidence.
Oh, no, not this.
Yeah, no, not really.
Yep.
Yeah. So now I just got to tell you guys, I don't want to, the latest thing is that, so I had eye surgery a month ago. I had cataracts. And so I had them removed, and, you have the one and then you have the other. And I was really, my eyes, I was, straining them. And it's like, look, you have to stop being on your phone, on your computer. I'm like, I got to back off of the research. I can't be staying up all night long and listening to my cameras like I do a lot. So I was not paying attention to them, to the clan. So what they did for about 3 or 4 days is, I think they were manipulating my neighbor's motion light, because it was like a light switch, like it would be, come on. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going back to sleep, and this thing would be like off and on, off and on. And I said, we're good friends with them. And I said, could you check to see if it's like, is it malfunctioning? And they said, oh yeah, we had one that did that. That's probably what it's doing, but it's just going to keep doing that. Have a guy come and check it. And he's like, no, it's fine. And it only did it for like 3 or 4 days. So that was their one method. Now they, okay. And again, I don't know, but I try to listen to something, laying laying in bed on my phone, and I have my earbuds in, and I have several different pairs of the same earbuds. They will literally, like the sound will go down, like it'll go off, like they'll
wow.
And I put it back up, and it goes right back down. And this is, and I've been able to record this. Like, I'm like, okay, I got to take a screenshot, a screen capture or screen record. So and it's sometimes, one time it was like, once I went to the cameras and turned the camera on, then it was fine. And then, but another night they were, no, like, you're not listening to anything. And I think it's just a little, the closer I think that people say that you get with them, the more like mischievous that they become.
That they get.
I don't know.
Yeah, I would believe that because they're getting comfortable with you.
Yeah. And I think, and they're like, hey, pay attention. What are you watching on your phone? Stop it. I don't know, but how does that work?
And I find more and more too with Barb, with yourself, with your personality. I mean, your intentions are humble, they're pure, right? And I find a lot of times with these things, with these creatures, whatever you want, Sasquatch, okay? Like Chris always says, your intentions, they know when they're around a good person or a good family, and you have no ill will towards them. And that's probably one of the reasons why you've had such great success and not really anything major, right? They're not bugging you, knocking on hitting your house every night when you're trying to sleep.
Yes.
I've heard stories of some of them are nice, but they're so annoying with some people that they keep them up late at night because they're on the roof.
Yeah.
Pounding on their windows and doors and just being annoying.
Yeah, and I would not like that.
What's happening with you is pleasant. It's there. And the great thing is you're not really, you don't feel terrified, really.
Yeah. And I one thing I see, and I don't know, and this is just when I hear a researcher say that they heard something, they go like running toward it. And I'm thinking that's the worst thing that you can do, I think, because you're going to get aggression, or they're going to hide, and you're not going to hear or see
or
anything.
Just move, right?
Whoever chased after one and there it is, and got evidence. But again, I don't, I'm not, I go out and I boots on the ground, but I'm also, I don't think that I feel like if it's I'm going to protect my kids, like a nut job. If anybody, is going to threaten my kids. So I can just imagine what a Sasquatch.
Right. Absolutely.
Because they know that as human beings, we can be violent, right? And they sense the type of people.
Terrible. And just the things we do, like I'm getting, I think as the economy has been so bad, and like people are just abandoning dogs and cats and
another subject.
And then there's people who just like downright mean, like, what are you doing? And I think like if I was a Sasquatch, I'd be like, ugh, yuck, you humans are terrible. No, I mean.
Well, no, I mean.
Yeah,
because I'm sure the Sasquatch knows what a rifle is.
Yeah,
they know what some people's intentions are. They know the man out in the forest wants to, kill one, shoot one, whatever. That believes, and they don't care about life as it is.
Right.
And we always hear those stories, though, don't we? Hunter, maybe he's hunting Bigfoot. I don't know, whatever the term is. And lines one up, and you look at it, and it looks like a human being a lot of times, and you just don't pull that trigger.
Yeah.
Which is, you as a human, that's humanity, right? Wow, this isn't a human, but then again, I don't know what the hell it is, so you can't possibly, in most cases.
But then I know a guy that I don't want to say his. I mean, he's very forthright, but I don't want to say his name because I didn't.
That's fine.
But you guys probably even know. He said he shot and killed one when he was about 18 in Florida, but it was it was just very, he was out, I think, camping with his buddies, and it was just very like scary and aggressive. And then they leave to like, oh no, what are we gonna do? They leave, and then it was bugging, like his conscience was like, I
heard this.
Try to go back. Yeah, I think and then went back and it was gone. There was no body or anything. So it probably took and he feels bad, still feels terrible about that.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that they just look so human, like, that they couldn't pull the trigger.
Yeah.
So, but if that one was being aggressive, it's you and me,
if you're being threatened and your life is in jeopardy, I mean, I'll shoot a human being.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. That's
so.
The thing is, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I know we're hunter, gun advocates. We have our handgun out here. Because my husband I said, there's really a lot of trails that I really want to spend time out here, checking them out, but I just don't feel comfortable going by myself. And that's just because I wouldn't want to do it, even if it wasn't like Sasquatch or whatever, and
just regular predators. And even,
I feel like we don't, there's cougars, but I don't know if there's that many out. I've not heard of that. And there's bears, but it's just so vast and like acres and acres and acres and miles and miles and miles and miles that there's nothing. But my husband said, I brought my piece with me, and I'm like, okay, but I don't want you to take it out with us. Because,
I mean,
if if it's because of you're not gonna say, if they want to do something, your little hand, gun is not gonna.
Well, here's the thing that I learned a long time ago, not from an experience at all. It's just like, if a person does shoot at one, you're not going to make it out of the forest, because you will be attacked.
Yeah. Right.
Unless you're like 500 yards away.
Yeah.
And get out of there,
Yep.
The fascinating story, then we'll end this show. This was a great show. I still am fascinated by the Art Bell show, where bugs lined up some Sasquatch, thought they were grizzly bears, but then said they look human, but he shot them anyway.
Yeah, somebody in chat mentioned that.
And then buried them, and they gave Art Bell the map to the burial grounds. And then, of course, Art Bell passed away and didn't have a chance to go investigate it. That's an interesting story. One of my favorites from Art Bell. But this has been one of my favorite shows that we've had, Barb.
Thank you. You guys are so sweet.
Yes.
Well, you're sweet. You're awesome. And where can we find you? I know your link for your YouTube is in the show description. I know that your Facebook's been shared tonight. But you tell us all again.
I just shared the Facebook group again.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so it's No Drama, Bigfoot and Cryptids, and then it's Barb Hartman on Facebook. But I would say to do, if anything, is to join the Facebook page, because I don't really share that much on my personal page. So as far as Bigfoot, no. Some things you have to now, because YouTube kind of tightened up whatever their restrictions. So some things now have to go, but and Sunny, hey,
Hi, Sunny.
And so and then also so check out my my YouTube. I appreciate that. And if you're on TikTok, but I don't do a whole lot on TikTok.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so many social media I can go.
Yeah.
And I chose not to do TikTok. I only use social media advertise stuff, although I talk a little bit on Facebook, but not much. But anyways, this was a great show. Great show, Barb.
And thank you for everybody in chat. I'm seeing so many names that
yes. So and if you are new here, please subscribe to all of our channels. Barb, The Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast, Bigfoot Michiganrob, Texas Front Porch, Paranormal Paul, Monica Rawls, Our Paranormal World, Donnie Chocesta.
You got that down pat.
Yeah.
I rolled that right off my tongue, didn't I?
You did.
Silver tongue.
A time or two.
Yeah, I've said it many times. Island of Misfit Toys. And of course, we have a conference September 19th and 20th. We've got a ton of people that are going to be there, including speakers and featured guests.
Yep.
That is going to be a lot of fun, including a ghost hunt. And I think our whole crew will be down there a day or two early. At least I think I'll be there Wednesday or Thursday. It starts Friday. I'm yet to work out the details. I'm waiting for those airline flights to get a little lower. I think they say you book 90 days in advance, which is coming up soon, and you get your best deal. That's what I heard. I don't know.
Well, you better get to it. Figure out if you're flying into St. Louis or Kansas City.
Yeah, I still get to figure that out. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to try. Oh, by the way, Chris, so you'll be getting about 100 of my books in the mail. because she's gonna be
I
driving.
have to get. I didn't realize that you had a second one. I mean, I know you were saying about it, but I didn't realize it was released. The first one was great. I gotta get a. I'm gonna order your second
for that. The second one I released last July. Nothing is coming out this year because I'm taking my time on my third book, but it's gonna be about my personal paranormal memoirs.
Yeah.
So I'm putting that together as we
cool.
speak.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Dan.
So I won't be out for a little while. Oh, before we go as well, since most people are still in the chat room, Kelly Sandifer, Larry Sharp, Sean Hertel, Keith, Larry Sharp again. Thank you for the awesome super chats or pirate member donations. Arr! We got about 5 or 10 new pirates tonight. Thank you for that.
Oh, that's
awesome. Always awesome. You guys are all awesome.
Yep.
That's good.
Everybody.
Thank you for coming in. Hit the like button. Leave a comment on your way out.
Yes.
And Barb, hang out for a couple minutes.
Okay. Yeah.
After the show,
Thank you, everybody.
Won't keep you long because Chris has got to get up, go to work.
It's only 7:37
Oh,
here.
that's right.
Like,
Yeah.
sorry,
Almost 10 o'clock here.
Yeah, well,
it's like still light out here, and
it's almost 11 here, but
yeah.
But no worries. Thanks everybody. We'll talk to you in a couple days.
Bye,
See y'all.
Bye-bye.
This is the future. Evolution.
The Crossing Realms Conference launches September 19th and 20th and will dock in Richmond, Missouri. This is already being called the event of the year, folks, with an unprecedented list of speakers and special guests, 2 days of cryptids, UFOs, and paranormal presentations, along with a celebrity-filled ghost hunt, meet and greet, gallery reading, vendors, and a film screening. This promises to be both educational and fun. Go to Eventbrite.com to secure your tickets and vendor slots before they are all abducted. They're going fast.